your life sucks, and it is your fault. From my life is a piss hole to my life's the golden throne that other people wish they could be pissing on. I'm a fruit bitch. Okay? It's a cheeky little podcast. Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Cheeky. It has been so freaking long since I have said that. Oh my god. Let me see if this is gonna mess with the microphone. It has been maybe over a year since I've made an episode, or honestly even really considered doing my podcast again. But something's just telling me, I don't know, to get back in there, and I'm actually really excited. I feel like I have a lot of stuff to say, a stronger point of view, and let's get into it. Honestly, how the hell have you been? How the hell have I been? Also, there's something new. This is a video podcast now. What? I'm a tech girly. I am videoing this, and we're gonna see how it works out. The technology did not quite work. The microphone was not connected to the camera, so we're gonna see how we do it, but we did it. I'm excited. Let's see, where have I been? What's up? Today is the last day of me being 25. It is my birthday eve, and tomorrow at 2:25 p.m. on September 5th I turn 26. Oh my god, I'm so sorry if the headphone situation, my bad, might be. But it's Labor Day weekend, aka my birthday, and I love to kick off something new on my birthday. And that's why we are launching every Tuesday at 11 a.m. Let's do it. I will see you. I have many a thing to say. I feel like I have a real point of view. I feel like I know myself. And yeah. So a lot has changed. I have a whole boyfriend now, a serious one. We live together. It's so weird. I'm so not used to looking at the camera when I talk or talking to anyone. I'd be here making faces, moving around, talking, not thinking about that at all. So sorry, let me try to have direct eye contact. And if I look down, for all you YouTube viewers, that is because I'm looking at my little note situation. But yeah, let's just for a quick rundown, because I know we're all looking for the content that I titled this about, accountability and apple picking, ? But I used to talk about my wild escapades and raunchy stories, which are funny. I'm not gonna lie. Those are funny, and I'm very entertaining, and I would, kind of plan to and amp things up. But now I still want it to be cheeky, but less raunchy. I feel like I've matured a little bit. I'm just a little different now. I'm a little modest. I'm a modest little church girl these days. I've always been a churchish girl, but we'll get into it later in life. But now I want the same journey. So if you're new here, you're gonna come along with me, but I am gonna treat this cheeky season 2, or post grad, or all grown up. Cheeky all grown up. That's it, you guys. We got it. Cheeky all grown up. Okay, that was a live epiphany. Cute. We did that together. But I want cheeky now to move away from those funny dating hookup stories to a community. I think that's what I want. I realized I have always felt kind of left out. I've never had my own group, and I want to build that for people that feel like that too. And I want to be a part of something, and I've decided to stop waiting to see if that something shows up in my life or trying to fit into someone else's something, and freaking make it happen for myself. So let's build this beep up. I'm also on a journey of trying to curse less. We'll see how it goes. So if you're still here for this intro or haven't skipped around, the new cheeky is, I wanted to spark that feeling of being invited to your cool older sister's sleepover. I don't have a cool older sister, but what the media makes it and what I imagine it to be she's cool, you want to absorb, be like her a little bit. It's fun, they're flirty, you kind of aspire to be a belly button pierced teen when you grow up, and you want to be like them, so you're soaking up all their Cosmo magazine filled knowledge. And that is what I really want the feeling of cheeky to evoke. whether you are the cool older sister, whether you never had a sister like me and you're an only child, whether you hate your sister, but that just kind of like fun teen, like something to look forward to, learn a little bit from, but it's in a fun way. It's not like you're going to class. It's not like I'm giving you the world-class CEO tips. Like, this is not a pump it out, grind it out, get your bag, sis podcast. Do believe in that. I hope you're doing that. But this also isn't like a slow wellness podcast where I just encourage you to follow the bliss of your heart. This is like a girl talk, real talk, girl, I don't know, let's sip a margarita and figure it out kind of podcast. And that is what I'm excited to move towards now. So let's get into some real content that people actually check for. I'm 5 minutes in. This is going to already be an edit down, I can tell. But it is 90 degrees outside. It is not fall yet. Let's have a pre-fall check, right? It is September 4th as I'm recording this, but September is the earliest you can start celebrating fall. I don't want to hear anything. I don't want to hear it. September 1st is the soonest you can begin it. Honestly, I think it's a little disrespectful to not even wait past Labor Day, and that's just my tea on that. You need to wait till like mid-September. September is the soonest, and so it is September. I think the pumpkin spice girlies are thriving right now. I'm excited to be an apple girly, so maybe being an apple and like caramel and cinnamon girly is why I wait a little bit longer than being a pumpkin girl. So we're gonna circle back to this last point about living seasonally a little bit later and seasonal goals. But I do think, before you shoot me about what I just said about fall, let's just really soak up the last weekend of summer, the last little bit, and while it's 105 degrees outside, let's just remember where we are, and we will get to the fall 72, warm, crisp day, chilly in the morning, hot in the day. We will get there. We're just not there yet, and that's okay. We will get there. So let's get into the nitty-gritty meat and bones of this podcast, right? We were talking about accountability and why your life freaking sucks, okay? Your life sucks, and it is your fault. I think after a certain age, you are responsible for the continuation of your life. I think we're all dealt different cards, and some of us have been dealt god-awful cards. But I think at a certain point, you have to stop blaming the cards you're getting and do the best you can with the cards you're dealt. And luckily, life is not like a poker game. Life is not like Uno, where you just have to rely on the luck of the draw and keep stuck. Typically, what happens in life is if you really assess not the cards you had, not the cards you want to have, but the cards currently in your hand, you will look at those 5 to 7 cards you've got, and if you just pick one to bank on and rely on, and you just go with that because your cards aren't literal just 1, 2, 3 in life, you can follow that through, and one good play will just bring in more and more and more. And that's kind of why we're lucky that life is not forever based on if the dealer just didn't shuffle the cards until we get through all the blue cards. Now we're in all the red cards. That's not how life works. I want to make it clear that I'm still on this journey myself, but it does get easier. I think that's something that people oftentimes, when they're giving this kind of advice about take accountability for your life and like where you'll be and it's up to you, and if you fucking hate your life, it's your fucking fault. I think there's, some more gray to that. How appropriate, I'm wearing lots of gray, but I think it's important to know you will always be figuring it out, and you will always be reevaluating your goals, and you will always be wanting something different, and that's okay. That's life. That's good. We're really lucky and blessed to be able to do something like that. Like I said, I'm still on this journey of trying to take accountability for my life and take this responsibility. That's something that's kind of hard for me, honestly. I don't know. I'm pet sitting this lovely poochie pooch here, Rita, and I love her. She's so great. But 3 days in, and I was just like, this is hard. I have to have a routine. This thing is counting on me. I don't like things that count on me because I don't even like to count on myself, because I know that I'm very flighty with my emotions. And like, when I'm into it, I'm into it. When I'm not, I'm not. If I'm too lazy, I'm not going to do it. And this is something that requires discipline and continuation. And I think that's freaking awesome for me. I need that kind of thing. So maybe I shouldn't be so quick to be like, I don't want a dog. But I have to be realistic about the expectation that comes with it. My life used to suck. I don't think my life is amazing, everything I ever wanted to be in my dreams, the best it's ever gonna be, peaking right now. But my life is pretty awesome. My life is pretty great. I'm very content with my life right now. My life is just solid. And I think that's okay. That's actually really good. And I think that's a point most of us should realistically be striving for, because plot twist, spoiler alert, I don't think happiness, the way in which we think of it as a destination, exists. And I would actually love to talk about that later, because that's a whole other thing. But contentment is honestly the key. You know, contentment is key for being happy. Did I say contempt? Being content, like finding contentness, to exaggerate, not exaggerate. How do you say the word? Whatever. Enunciate. Being content is the key, because happiness is a feeling. Happiness is a fleeting emotion, just like sadness, anger. Honestly, grief has more lasting power. But all of these things you just randomly feel for a short amount of time, or maybe a day, or even you're angry for a week or a month. Like, happiness is no different. And happiness is usually more fleeting than even a resentment you build out of anger, because happiness, it's like a quick dopamine hit and you have to constantly keep hitting it. Be realistic here and know that you will always be figuring it out, and know that you should strive to be content and be solid with most of your life, because we're probably not going to be 1,000% over the moon at every single point in our life at every time. But I want to be clear. My life used to suck. And I use that not in like a, well, you didn't experience XYZ, or you had this head start, or not like that. No, we're not talking about the starting line, and I'm not even close to the finish line. I'm talking about how I want to live my life. I didn't feel aligned in what I wanted to be doing, and how far freaking away I was from that. How I felt like I sucked my life. I looked around, I didn't like it. I was no money, no car, no man or prospect, no friends, no job, sucked at school, no degree. Like, these are things that at varying points, some of them all happened at some points, all of it was happening at the same time. But at other points, it was 2 or 3 that I really valued that made it feel like the whole thing was crumbling. So my life used to suck, okay? The worst time in my life was the fall of 2019. I had just moved to Athens with my best friends, and I was like, because I was taking a year off of school, and I was like, this is going to be the best time of my life. I left a nannying job where I was at that time making the most money I had ever made in my life, which was about like $500 a week. And I left that because it was too far from Athens to Alpharetta. If you're from Georgia, you know. And I couldn't get a job in Athens. But I was optimistic. And then my car stopped working. But I was optimistic. I couldn't pay rent, so I sold my camera. I was less optimistic. The boy I was talking to, the first person I really liked in my life, he popped up on Instagram after talking to me on a Thursday about how he was in the military. I know, let's not talk about it. But after saying how much he couldn't wait to come back in town and see me and be with me and like all this stuff, he pops up on Instagram with a girlfriend. I was no longer optimistic. Broke, carless, heartbroken. And because I was having such financial struggles, I couldn't do stuff with my friends, and I wasn't in school. I was starting to build this like jealousy, this envy, resentment towards my friends that I lived with, and I love that they had these things, but I didn't have them, and I couldn't do this stuff. I was on the fritz with my friends, and by the time I moved out that semester, and I moved out early, and we had to find a replacement person, it was not good. So then I had no friends. You know what I did have? Therapy and COVID, baby. Therapy and COVID. But ever since the fall of 2019, we're in 2023, the past 2 years have been journeys. So many experiences, so many ups and downs. And I want you to know that that's normal. It will get better, in different areas at different times. Maybe not all at once, but I found that when I lean in, God really just pops up, and things in my life move fast because I'm a fast person, and that works for me. That's how I know it's God ordained, but everything's a little different. It does get easier. It gets so much easier. I can't even explain to you how easy it becomes to take accountability. You start with one thing, it's a chain reaction, and once you take ownership and actually commit yourself and achieve one thing, it's addictive and it keeps going. So how do we get from my life is a piss hole to my life's the golden throne that other people wish they could be pissing on? That was probably the worst metaphor of my entire life. I'm so sorry. You're probably like, can my life be not urinated related? Maybe. So breaking it down on how we actually get there. Step 1, define your values. This was something my therapist taught me and told me to do. Change my freaking life. I do think there's a specific way to do this, not just journaling and writing down how you feel and what you think your values are. There's these cards. I'll link it down below so anybody can access it, but you can print out the cards, cut them out, and organize it if you're very visual. I prefer to just write it in a notebook because I didn't want to print. There's a couple of different ways to do this. However, this is about 50 or so flashcards, maybe less than that, probably less than that, like 25 to 30 flashcards of different things that people can value, and they range from things I never even thought about, but there could be like courage, family, kindness, education, fame, money, art, creativity. Like, there's so many different things, and that's awesome because there's so many things that people can value that you might not have even thought that you've about to value. And what you do is make 3 categories. This is really important to me. I think that's how it goes. Really important to me. Care about it, interested, mid, not really important. Don't care, it's not important at all. Just throw the cards right down the list. Like, I put them in 3 columns and just pile them quick, like less than 5 seconds on each one. Don't overthink it because it's the first step, because it's supposed to really quick assess, and this is just step 1 of it. So make your columns, put the words in. So if I go through the list and I'm just like, is acceptance important to me? Sure, not real. Say I mid-care about acceptance. Then say money is very important to me. Friends, not really that important to me. And, fame, very important to me. I don't remember the other one I'm saying. But either way. So now you've got the things in your mid being kind and smart. And then on the not really care, it's like friends, family. And then on what you really care about, money and fame, right? There is no right or wrong answer to these. These are your values, and you need to be honest so you can create the life you want to live. And that's step 1 of taking accountability. But now the only 2 important columns are I don't really care at all, and I really care. It's very important to me. What you do, they're equally as important. You assess what you do not care about. If you do not care about your family and your friends and being smart, do not sign up to open a family-owned and family and friend run preschool with your family and friends. You will be miserable. You hate those people. You don't want to spend time with them. Well, it's not even that you hate them, but you just don't care to spend all your time with them in your hometown where your whole family lives, and you don't care about education. Like, that's going to be miserable for you. And if you very, very much care, it's very important for you about money and fame, instead of doing that whole activity, what you should be doing is, I don't know, starting a YouTube channel, social media, going to auditions, however you want to be famous, putting yourself out there, making, probably, if that's all you really care about is money and fame, and there's things in the value categories like reputation, all that kind of stuff too. But if those are the only things you really care about, you probably should get on social media like on TikTok and yesterday and be like saying some controversial wild shit to rack up your numbers, rack up the views, and rack up them dollars. But you personally will be so much happier because those things fit with your values. That's what it takes. That's step 1 of taking accountability for your life. Step 2, make a 5-year plan. with your values in mind, what is something that you're working towards? You probably already know what your pipe dream is, but what are something you're working towards that aligns those values? Say you're a Wall Street banker and you've worked your whole life to be this stockbroker, and your core values show you that you care about family time and you would love to do something with your hands. Maybe you need to you definitely need to see how it can fit in your 5-year plan to leave what your career you're doing now, become some sort of carpenter, part-time, or your own carpentry business where you have flexibility to be with your family and be like a part-time stay-at-home parent or whatever that kind of vibe is. So make your 5-year plan with that in mind, and this is going to be used for your autopilot. When you are feeling down in the dumps, feeling like you're not making any progression, feeling like your life is ass, you look around and you're like, there is nothing to be proud of. I have felt like that so many times. I have felt like, what is the freaking point? I have nothing to be proud of. And right now in this moment, in a typical sense, I have one thing in my life that I'm proud of. I've been truly proud of myself one time. Now, when I'm being gentle with myself and being realistic, I'm proud of myself for lots of small things, but we'll get into the importance of that in just one second. But this 5-year plan will be your autopilot thing. It's more important to always be moving, even if it feels like you're moving backwards, than to be stagnant. I had gotten into such a stagnant, complacent situation last fall where I just felt content, fine, but no progression was going on, no growth, no regression. I was just there. Because I didn't want to go backwards. I was terrified. I feel like I've grown so much and come far, but I didn't know which direction. I didn't know what I was doing. I was afraid to make a move because I was like, I'm honestly comfortable here. There's nothing wrong with it, so why move at all? I'll tell you why you need to move. Because if you do not move, you will become miserable, because you will see life flashing before your eyes, life passing you by. You will see other people growing and be like, you'll look around one day and just be like, I'm still here. What happened? What happened to all the goals? What happened to all the dreams? Like, what? I'm not saying don't be happy with your life and do so, but there's ways you can be growing yourself and your life slowly. I'm not saying you need to be changing career paths, being the next Ferrari driving CEO, multimillionaire at all. I don't think that. But I do think maybe you don't just need to keep making the same crochet blanket you have memorized. Maybe it's time you buy a new book of patterns and learn how to make a hat. It's time to challenge yourself. If you go for If you go for a 4-mile run every single day, maybe it's time to push for 5. It's important to always be growing and moving forward. And if you can't figure out how to move forward, maybe you need to move backwards and reassess some steps to make sure you're on the right path. Never just stand still. To check in with yourself, that's what we did. Step 1, we're checking in, checking the pulse. But now it's time to make a movement. I got really detailed with mine. I wrote a little foreshadowing, like, in 5 years from now, I'm doing XYZ, a little thing like that at the top of my paper. And then I broke it down by age and year, because I like to see, like, in 2023, in 2024, 2025, etc., how old I'll be. So I'll be in, but the time that I wrote it, I was 23, turning 24, and then I was 24, turning 25, 25, turning 26, and that's where we are. Something like that. I don't really remember. I think I was 24, turning 25 when I wrote it that year. So then I have the year, so say it's 2023. I have bullet points of the things I want to accomplish. Now, I'm not saying I look back at that list and I'm like, I hit everything. But I hit a lot of the stuff, okay? And even right now, when I realized I was floating and I was like, I'm not really happy, where am I growing? And like, I just, sometimes it's so hard to think of what you need to do to grow. This became my autopilot. Like, when I'm like, I feel good, but I think it's time for a new goal, but I'm not quite sure, I refer to this piece of paper and I look at it as like, it's this year, this is the goals I need to be hitting. And then I have little themes for them. So it's like the year of health and career growth, graduation and whatever. It can be your year to find love and make new friends, like kind of thematic what the overarching thing is, and all those little goals kind of help hit that big goal of that year. Because oftentimes we can get wrapped up and say, one of my life goals in the next 5 years is to be married, but I also want to build a business, and I also want to say I want to build a bakery, get married, and own a car. If those are 3 things I want to work on, if I have bought a car. I feel like I've made progress. So I'm like, okay, cool. And you feel really high. So you're like, okay, let's take a stab at both things and overwhelm yourself. Or you're like, let's take a stab at being the bakery. That proves to be hard. Maybe you experience some backslips. Now you're in a spiral and you're like, oh, I don't know what to do. What's my next step? I'm just going to put everything into finding my mans to get married. But if you haven't broken out into thematic years, getting married and finding a man, when you did this detailed 5-year plan, you said that that's not date time until after you have this bakery. You want to be independently single to build this dream. Now, if your man just shows up while you're building the dream, okay, cool. But if he doesn't, you don't need to be wasting this year's time on that year's goal. I hope that makes sense. Next year's goal is to find the man. This year's goal is to give everything you've got to building the bakery. And this becomes your autopilot. I cannot say that enough. How helpful it has been to be able to walk over to my wall where I hang it up and be like, hey, let's have a check-in. That's what we're working towards. Pick one of those mini goals, smash it. So when I look at my life, one of my big things was being broke. I think this is something I still struggle with. I'm not sitting here telling you that I'm broke, but I'm sitting here telling you that I'm not financially where I've always dreamt of being, and I want to get there. I'm sitting here telling you that probably part of the reason I'm not broke, especially house poor, because girl, I moved in with my mans, and things are expensive. I'm decorating like I've never decorated before. I love it. I'm thankful. I'm blessed. But the only reason I'm not shit broke is because I have a man. Like, I won't sit here and be like, girl, you make that your financial plan. But girl, if you don't use that double standard and that woman power to your benefit, hey, that's just tea right there. What you have to do is be disciplined. I was even watching videos about how do I live more below my means? How do I work on that? Because that's something I really want to work on in the next year. Like saving for big goals. Because I have some big goals and I want to save for them. And how do I stick with it? It comes down to being disciplined, and it is a compounding effect. The more money you see in that account, that savings account grow, the more you don't want to use it, and the more you want to keep growing it. So it's being disciplined to say no to things, to not spend on stuff, to deny yourself of those short-term impulses, and to figure out a way to make more money. I think when it comes to saving money, there's really only two options. You make more money or you spend less money. I've historically gone the route of just making more money, and that works out for me. I have a high money frequency. I have positive affirmations around it. In my zodiac chart, I'm very lucky when it comes to money, apparently. But I don't think that's responsible. I think that's a temporary solution, because most of us are not going to do what it takes, or we're not destined to be a Jeff Bezos. And that's okay. I don't need to be Jeff Bezos. I need to be Kirstyn DuBar, and I need to fucking budget a little better. So still look for some side gigs. There is always a job you can do. There's just plenty that you don't want to do. There's more that you don't want to do than that you're not able to get. So if you need more money, first, if it's imminent, you just need to be going. What you need to do if you're in need of more money is to find a shit job that you don't like that you can spend extra dollars on. I was very fortunate that when I went to college, I met some girls in my sorority who nannied, and I got into nannying. If you are a young girl, like high school, start babysitting, but 18 and you're in college, start nannying, because I know that if my current career in like digital media doesn't work out, then I can always go back to nannying. Be a waiter, waitress, work at a shoe store. I did that before. Like work at a movie theater, work at a gas station. Like I didn't say the side hustle is going to change your life and be bringing you in a lot of money, but you just need more money. So get you some more money. If you need to change your lifestyle, or if you can't keep a lifestyle that you want, you need to spend less money and be realistic and disciplined. If the issue is that you're single, take accountability for the fact that I think being single is a touchier subject, but you have to be realistic. Before I started dating, and like when I was maybe 19, I got my first kiss at 19, and I think 19 to 20 is when I really started dating. I wasn't that cute. You have to glow up a little bit. Take accountability for that. Take accountability for the fact you might be weird. when you go on dates. Take accountability for the fact that you might be choosing the wrong people. Take accountability for the fact that you might not be showing up as your best self. Take accountability for the fact that you might be boring and not have your life together and don't nobody want that baggage. Like, take accountability for where you've gotten yourself and see what you can change, what you want to change, because not everything is something you want to change. And then take a look and be realistic with the options that you might get at the level you're at. And if you want to be at a different level, then do what needs to be done to reach that level. If you want to be with, I don't know, Tyga or 2 Chainz or something, look at the type of girls they're into. Look at how they meet people. Go be that. Go do that. If you want to be with a doctor, look on some Reddits about being a doctor's wife. I don't know. But take accountability for where you're at, how you got there, what you're doing, and go freaking mingle. Set some goals about how many dates you want to go in a week. Go make yourself attracted to the people that you're attracted to. It's a two-way street. Another one is friends. If you don't have any friends, and this is something I'm struggling with, take accountability for the fact that you might be antisocial. Take accountability for the fact that you might have gotten in some fights and lost a lot of friends. Take accountability for the fact that you may not be friendly. All of these things are important to look at. And then what do? You don't dwell in what you've taken accountability for. You don't dwell in the fact that you've been mismanaging your money and you lost, I don't know, $10,000 in crypto. No, baby, you don't do that. I didn't do that. I got real. I took accountability for it. And I said, now what? Now what? The point of accountability is not to make you suffer and make you feel like shit and to sit in your pity party. I used to think it was. The point of accountability is to help you assess, to help you refocus and gain ownership over where you are, and remind you that you are in the driver's seat of your life and you deserve, you will, and you can get yourself to where you want to be because you're in the driver's seat. You're not in the trunk. There's been some times where I felt like I was more than the trunk, honey. I felt like I was done tied up to the back being drug along on I-75. No. You are in the driver's seat. You wake up, you take a shot of espresso, whatever you need, take a Mountain Dew 5 Blue 5-hour energy, and you drive the car to where it needs to go. You refocus, you take a look at how the hell did I end up on this dirt road in the backfield of Kentucky? And if you can't see the road, you pick a direction and drive. The 5-year plan will help you pick a direction, and you just drive. And then in the next 5 years, you can change it. The next 10 years, you can change it. Shit, you can be in year 3 and be like, okay, I see roads again. Hey, I'm on a highway, and this highway, thank you, got me out of the back roads of Kentucky. No problem with Kentucky people, by the way. I just felt like in the middle of a nowhere place. But they got me here, but now there's an exit that says my Disney World. Take the exit to your Disney World and just keep driving from there. It's okay to pivot. You're not stuck in this. But what it's not okay is to be stagnant and to blame others and act like the world is falling, the roof is falling from your shit because something out of your control. You are always in control. You're always in control. And like I said at the very beginning, I think after a certain age, we're always in control. And what we're in control of is not what happens to us, but how we respond, how we move forward, and how we grow and understand the process, share, and help others through it. And I talked a lot about goals and how to set some goals, what to do, what to make of them, and things that'll help. But I think it's incredibly important to be gentle with yourself in the fact of, in this journey of reparenting yourself, I don't believe in necessarily gentle parenting where I can do no wrong. Bitch, I know myself real well. I do a lot of wrong, and I am disrespectful AF to myself when I don't give myself any boundaries or rules or repercussions. But I'm not saying being a freaking dictator, horrible parent that CPS should be called on to myself either. I've been that too, and that just makes me shut down, depressed, and that's just not going to work either. What I'm saying is know what type of goal setting works for you. And I think something that's super helpful and not talked about enough is seasonal living and goal setting within the seasons. Quarterly goals is kind of what this is often referred to too. Like, I think something about doing it, because the quarters are pretty strict in the month of the years. Seasons have a fluid, seasons have a feeling. And I think that's important because you're honoring yourself and it helps you be more in tune with yourself. And when you feel like you're moving in a current pace of life. It helps you feel more present and create more memories in this time while you're moving forward, if that makes sense. I know I feel overwhelmed sometimes when I feel like, oh, this is what I'm doing right now. I can't do anything else. This has to be this all the time. That's not how life is. And taking it back to what I said about this pre-fall, the apple picking kind of stuff. Right now, when I'm making goals for fall. I'm making my September goals that kind of loosely can touch into stuff I want to be building into October and November, and that's the fall spirit, the time. And this helps me not feel guilty for building in social and fun light goals with more like intense things. So to kind of help with that too, I wanted to share a little bit of my fall goals and bring back in the apple picking, because that is one of my fall goals. Oh no, this is the wrong piece of notebook paper, honey. I done forgot my notes. BRB. Okay, we're back. My fall goals are, I want to go apple picking. That's something I don't think I've ever done. And I think it's so cute and romantic and so sweet. And I'm an apple fall girl, okay? I'm not a pumpkin spice girl. I've been to enough pumpkin patches. I'm going to still probably go again because I have a cute door thing I want to do. But I want to be an apple girl. I'm a fruit bitch. Okay? I'm apple picking this fall. I want to bake banana bread. I want to bake an apple crumble. I think I want to try and bake cinnamon rolls. I clearly want to bake because I think baking is something you can do with your hands. Baking, you have to be really precise. You have to take your time. And that's a skill I'm trying to cultivate in life. I want to eat soup. I want to volunteer. Well, if you were watching the YouTube video, I am so sorry. Rita, the dog is barking, my battery has died, and now you have to look at a black screen and just listen to me. So that is my bad. I was talking for way longer than I thought I did, so I didn't think I needed to change a battery. But yeah, recap. My Rita, chill. I will close the window, and then you can't look at anything. I want to go apple picking, bake banana bread, just bake in general, eat soup. I want to volunteer. I want to read one book because I think I would love to be able to read a book a month, but I'm not there yet. I need to get back into a book a quarter and then build from there. I want to rebuild my morning and night routine consistency. Those are my overarching fall goals. And then I have specific September goals, which might look a little bit more business, numeric, hard hitting. The seasonal goals give me an overarching feeling I would like to complete in this time of my life, something to work towards. Whereas a monthly goal is something that I can work towards and hit and feel like, yeah, baby. Yeah, that feeling. I think that a monthly goal gives me that. Versus seasonal goals just kind of giving me a vibe, a time, a memory, if you will, to look back on. And I think it's kind of important to goal and prop yourself on the back, applaud yourself for the feelings, the memory, and the sweet goals. You should do that because you deserve that. Not everyone could make it out of bed this morning because they're too broken. They're too depressed and they couldn't find the positive or the reason to get out of bed this morning. But you did. You brushed your teeth this morning. Maybe you weren't doing that for a while. Every little thing is a reason to be applauded. And the more you start applauding yourself for every little thing, the more in control you'll feel, the better you'll feel, and you'll start to feel like everything you do matters. And that just is a beautiful spiral into taking accountability for bigger things because you now trust yourself and you feel like you can accomplish and overcome bigger things. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this episode. It was a little choppy. It might not have been as smooth as I was hoping. I will get better. I am rusty, so I'm excited to be back. Dust off the old voice box and really kind of push my mind to talk consistency for, Jesus Christ, apparently 46 minutes. So we're really going to try to trim that down for you guys. But thank you so much. It's honestly for you, Solomon, you and Logan, my biggest supporters. So thank you guys so much. And make sure to subscribe to the YouTube and follow on Spotify and Apple. Leave a rating, comment. I don't know. So when people see this podcast, they think it's somewhat legit because I don't want to be no fraud or nothing. And follow me on Instagram at Kirstyn.jpg to keep up in the live, in the time. See what I'm talking about when it's happening. See the meltdown, see the highs, see the lows. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you next week, next Tuesday at 11 a.m. Bye.